When you are clear-headed enough to look at this world without being lulled to sleep by pretty words, you will see a very cold truth. Every society from ancient times to the present runs on a chain of devouring. The only difference is the disguise. The poor consume plants and animals to survive. The wealthy consume the poor's time, trust, and labor to maintain power. That is not sin. It is a law of nature. The strong absorb the life force of the weak, the way the sky absorbs water vapor to keep the cycle of life turning. This is the world of the weak, where morality is deified. When someone loses the capacity to change reality, they begin to invent illusions to comfort themselves. Morality, benevolence, justice. Things that sound sacred become a shield for powerlessness. The weak speak of morality, not because they are good, but because they are afraid. No snowflake is truly pure. No victor is spotless. There are only those strong enough to remain standing amid blood and tears. The fantasy of purity exists only in the hearts of those who do not dare look straight into their own darkness. This world does not belong to those who only recite righteous words. It belongs to those who are lucid enough to lead and still keep a conscience. Morality does not save the weak. Knowledge does not kill the strong. Only the truly awake can keep their real humanity intact in this game of devouring. Welcome to the real world, where there are truths society does not want you to know. No matter how brilliant a civilization appears, it carries the metallic smell of blood and the cries of those who were subdued. From the pyramids of Egypt to today's skyscrapers, human history has always been built from two materials: the labor of the weak and the ambition of the strong. If you watch long enough and clearly enough, every sermon about cooperation and humanity starts to sound fake. Society is not one big family moving toward goodness. It is an ecosystem of prey and predators, where every smile hides a set of sharp teeth, and every compliment is a prelude to a hunt. The difference between eras is only the disguise. In ancient times, people carved each other up with swords. Today, the blade is replaced by contracts, reputations, morality, and tailored suits. In the past, the strong ate the weak. Today, the wealthy consume the time, energy, and illusions of the poor. A worker sells 8 hours a day just to buy a bowl of rice. That is an exchange paid in blood, and time no different from an ancient hunt. Monetization did not erase the instinct to devour one another. It only made the mechanism more refined, more legal, and painted over with noble-sounding words like morality development and contribution. Perhaps every standard we worship is simply a polite way to describe predation, so the weak do not realize they are being swallowed, and the strong can eat in silence under the mask of so-called goodness. The layers of devouring in society, no matter how many layers of moral makeup society puts on, it still operates by a primitive mechanism: eating and being eaten. That has always been an unavoidable law from nature itself to human civilization. The strong absorb the weak's energy not with claws, but with power structures, contracts, and belief. Those at the bottom sell fragments of their time drops of their strength and their fragile trust in exchange for survival, while those at the top buy it all back to sustain power. No one is innocent. We all consume part of this world to exist. We consume land resources, labor, and each other's emotions. One person consumes another's time through cheap products. Another consumes the crowd's emotional energy through social media. The only difference is the degree of awareness. The strong know they are consuming. The weak lull themselves with the idea, "I'm just living righteously." Look at everyday slices of life. A corporation pays miserable wages but praises company culture like a family. That is how they swallow labor with sweet words. An influencer preaches simple happiness while living off viewers' cravings and jealousy. They consume emotion. A politician promises to serve the people while buying votes with fear and division. They consume trust. What people call social exchange is in truth simply a more civilized banquet, tablecloths and smiles included. The moral illusion a blanket covering the weak's fear. When people lose the ability to change reality, they invent morality to lull themselves into believing they still control the world. Righteousness, justice, compassion. These words are sanctified to soothe helplessness. The weak fear violence, so they glorify peace. They fear ambition, so they praise knowing one's limits. They fear loss, so they rename stagnation as serenity. For them, morality is not truth, it is a psychological defensive wall. They believe that if everyone believes in goodness, the strong will not dare devour them. But the world does not run on prayers. It runs on force, on strength, intelligence, and energy. Look around. The poor shout, "Don't be greedy." Yet deep inside, they still crave wealth. The weak curse the powerful as evil. Yet if placed in that position, they would likely do the same. Morality has become something that exists in speech, not in instinct. We fear evil, so we talk about goodness because how many people dare live good in a reality full of fangs? Two kinds of people preach morality. There are two types who preach morality the most. The first are the hypocritical saints. These people are extremely intelligent. They understand the crowd needs a spiritual stake and anchor so it does not panic. So they build morality as a tool of control. Politics uses it to govern. Religion uses it to discipline. Media uses it to manipulate emotion. They set moral standards to restrict others' behavior, while they themselves act beyond those limits. When they call on people to live selflessly, they are really clearing a path to extract the listener's energy, belief obedience, and fear. The second are the desperate and weak. They speak of morality not because they are good, but because they are afraid. Afraid of being hurt, afraid of being abandoned, afraid of facing the dark instinct inside themselves. They use morality like a shield to hide their powerlessness. They beg people to live well, as if the world will listen. Both groups speak of goodness, yet few understand where goodness truly resides. Goodness is not in slogans. It is in the level of awareness inside each action. Someone truly kind does not need to talk about kindness because they understand that even the smallest choice carries consequences. But the weak keep talking about goodness simply because they cannot bear the truth. They are not strong enough to live bad and still hold themselves together. When knowledge becomes a blade and fear of knowledge becomes power, morality does not destroy society. Fear of powerful knowledge does. When an idea is strong enough to shift old beliefs, the weak immediately label it dangerous, immoral, anti-human, because powerful knowledge strips away illusions. It shines a light into the place people fear most, the truth that we are not victims. We are the ones who bind ourselves with ignorance. The strong do not hate morality. They understand its mechanism. They know it is necessary, so order does not collapse. But they never treat it as the measure of intelligence. The strong understand the rules and then transcend the rules through awareness. The weak do not understand the rules and use morality as a fence to avoid responsibility. Imagine knowledge as a knife. A kind person uses it to perform surgery and save someone. A cruel person uses it to kill. But the weak scream and tremble, "Don't touch the knife. It's dangerous." So they live in fear, cut off from their own strength. This world does not collapse because of the wicked. The wicked simply eat and are eaten by the law of nature. The world collapses because good people are not wise enough to use their strength, because they fear conflict, fear knowledge, fear power. They call their cowardice morality. They call their helplessness serenity. And they lull themselves with hollow prayers. From survival to spirit, humanity keeps replaying the same melody. The strong eat with force. The weak eat with belief. Every sermon, every fair exchange in society still carries the essence of devouring, only differing in who can swallow more. And the raw truth is, no one is completely good, and no one is completely evil. There are only people who know what they are doing and dare to take responsibility for it. They do not wear morality as a cloak. They do not use knowledge as a weapon for vanity. They turn both into tools to live lucidly in a world where everyone is consuming and afraid of being consumed. The two-layer game of human nature. On the surface, society is a moral stage where people talk about love, fairness, and righteousness. But behind the curtain is a two-layer game. The weak build a wall of morality to defend themselves, and the strong use that wall to imprison them inside it. That is humanity's deepest paradox. Morality is created to protect people, yet it becomes a mental chain that keeps them trapped in victimhood forever. The weak are not stupid. They understand their limits. But instead of choosing to rise, they choose to paint their limits as virtue. They say, "I am poor but pure. I am weak but moral." It sounds noble, but it is really a form of accepting defeat. When they cannot fight with strength, they comfort themselves that they are still better than the strong through kindness. So they build a wall called morality and hope the world will believe in fairness, hope the strong will restrain themselves. But they forget the strong are not governed by belief. They create belief to govern others. The strong understand what morality is, a tool of organization and control. They do not deny morality, they use it. They praise fairness to buy the crowd's loyalty, honor righteousness to preserve order, then quietly break the very rules they set when necessary. Politics, business, media, everything runs on this model. Society often rewards the cunning, not the moral. It praises virtue, but bows to the winner. Because deep down, people do not admire goodness. They crave power, wearing the robe of goodness. And this game is visible in daily life. When a scandal breaks, social media erupts with condemnations. Cancel movements spread everywhere. But if you look closely, the loudest voices are often the weakest. They lack the power to change reality, so they throw morality like stones. They borrow outrage to feel pure, to believe they stand on the right side. In truth, they are satisfying a predatory instinct of the mind, devouring someone else's carcass under the banner of justice. At the upper layer, the powerful appear calmer, more dignified. They use moral culture to teach those below, preaching proper conduct. Yet when interests are threatened, they readily trample the very principles they proclaim. That is the paradox of modern human nature. Morality is treated as a foundation, but real rewards go to those who know how to manipulate it. An honest student is pushed out of the race because they lack connections. A quiet, hard-working person is overlooked because they do not flatter. Meanwhile, the skilled pretenders, smooth and calculating, are celebrated as clever. Society praises good people, but it grants power to the shrewd. A cold law, once you understand it, you are forced to choose either believe or use. And so the two-layer game takes shape. On the lower layer, the crowd lives on belief. They need belief to endure, need morality to preserve self-respect in an unjust world. On the upper layer, a minority uses that belief as fuel. They need the crowd to believe so order remains, so power can be legalized, so they can consume in peace. One side believes morality is salvation. The other uses morality as a chain. Both play their roles and the circle continues. This game has no absolute winner. The strong can be replaced when the weak awaken. But what is terrifying is that when the weak gain strength, they often use the same old tricks to dominate others. That is why humanity repeats its own tragedy. Every revolution eventually produces a new ruling class. Because even though people talk endlessly about goodness, they are still bound by the instinct to eat and be eaten. The end point of this game is not who wins or loses, it is the level of awareness. A truly wise person does not deny morality, but does not let it shine alone either. They understand it is a necessary rule of the game, and they know when to step away from the board. The naive, because they fear blood, sit inside the moral pen, thinking they are safe. But in a society where everything is a hunt, safety is only a temporary feeling before it becomes your turn to be eaten. A message of intelligence rising above the devouring game. The phrase, "the poor eat animals, the rich eat the poor," is not a cynical joke. It is the most honest description of social energy flow. In nature, the weak are absorbed to sustain the strong. In human society, that law does not disappear, it only changes form. The poor sell labor time and trust to survive. The rich reclaim it all to maintain influence, control, and a sense of immortality. That is not a moral crime, it is the basic structure of how the system runs. Those without enough energy become resources for others. But humans differ slightly from nature. We have consciousness, and consciousness creates choice. Either be eaten, or learn to live lucidly within this devouring chain. Because the modern hunt does not rely only on fangs or guns. It runs on mind, intellect, and power. The clever consume through promises, brands, algorithms. The foolish are consumed through trust, emotion, and consumption habits. Each time we scroll one more minute, click an ad, or believe an empty promise, we hand our time and energy to a system that swallows us without us noticing. The only solution is not to run from the game, but to rise above it. No one can live without consuming, but we can learn to consume consciously so we do not become prey for larger systems. Learn not to dominate, but to defend yourself and stay awake. A knowledgeable person does not need to oppress anyone, because they understand power is not in subduing others. It is in controlling oneself amid the hunger of instinct. Do not hate power, because when you hate power, you are admitting you are weak. Cultivate yourself to use power wisely. That is the only way not to be crushed by someone else's power. A sword can kill, but it can also protect the weak. The problem has never been the blade. It has always been the hand that holds it. Morality does not save the weak, because morality has value only when upheld by energy and intelligence. A hungry person cannot preach harmony. A frightened person cannot speak of freedom. Only when you are strong enough does morality have a place to stand. Conversely, knowledge does not kill the strong, because the truly strong do not use knowledge to show off. They use it to understand the rules and transcend them with awareness. This world, from ancient times to now, has never belonged to blindly gentle people. It belongs to the awakened, those who can hold a knife and still keep their heart. They understand morality is necessary, so society does not collapse, but they do not wear it as a shackle. They know when to be soft, when to be hard, when to endure, when to act. The awake do not dream of heaven, because they have seen heaven is just a concept used to lull the crowd. They do not fear darkness, because they have learned how to see the path at night. When you understand this game clearly, you stop cursing the world, because the world is not unfair. It is simply neutral toward the weak and fair to the awakened. The weak live on promises. The awake live on understanding. The weak need a God to protect them. The awake become the God of their own life. And in a world where everyone devours one another, only the awake are strong enough to live and clear enough not to become beasts.